I'm Catherine Stowe, Research Coordinator with the North Carolina Soybean Producers Association. Today, we conclude the video portion of our Ag Tech Talks. I hope you've had a chance to tune in to many of the sessions over the last 2 weeks. We've heard from a number of great presenters on topics ranging from remote sensing to traceability to ag data ownership. And I hope those presentations have got you thinking about your own operations. While it's easy to hear from experts talk about this technology, the challenge comes in when deciding what, if any, of this technology makes sense for your operations. To shed a little light on what some growers are doing, I sat down with a couple of North Carolina soybean growers to talk with them about how they're incorporating technology on their farm, as well as some of the challenges they're facing. I hope that hearing from other growers will encourage you to leap into this new ag tech world we find ourselves in.
Most beneficial technology I've adapted in the last 2 years on my farm would be GPS documentation and guidance. Simply from the aspect of guidance gives you the opportunity to turn around and pay attention to what you're doing behind you. And documentation just puts on paper what you see when you're in the field without you having to recreate it later.
So I think one of the most beneficial things we've come up to with the labor situations is GPS and guidance. Having auto steer on the tractors has gone from having to train or find a skilled operator to being able to take somebody that's just kind of a mediocre driver and actually get everything in place like it needs to be. Straight rows that can come back and be cultivated or planted, as well as the savings that we've got on the planters now with cutting off the row units at the proper places. So we're saving money on seed and chemicals with variable rates through GPS and that type of stuff.
For us, the biggest return on investment is, as far as technology goes, has been a data management software that we use on the farm. I mean, there's a number of different technologies that we use, but in my lifetime, this management software ties everything together. So we're able to see seed population when we plant it. We're able to tie in our soil sample results, to tie in with fertilizer. We can use variable rate seeding and fertilizer applications, which help cut down some of our costs.
The thing that I've not really adopted but have had access to would be satellite imagery. And that was, when it first came out, was a little bit slow, lagged too much to really make a correction or make an adjustment in your production for the season. But that has gotten better with the use of drones that can instantaneously turn those images around in 20 minutes or less, and you can correct the deficiency.
Some of the earlier adoptions, like planter units that cut off on their own, we had some issues with those early on. But as the technology developed and we decided, first of all, when you start adopting this technology, you've got to decide that you're going to do it and know there's going to be complications, and whether it's learning curve or technology development. So if you decide to start taking on new technologies, you have to decide that you're going to do it and work through it. And if you take that attitude, then you'll find a way to make it work, and it'll work and make your life a lot easier eventually.
A few years ago, we put in a center pivot irrigation system, and it's been the best insurance policy we've put in, because since we put it in, we really have not had to use the irrigation system. But as the weather changes, hopefully that'll be something that will be a bigger return on investment from what it has currently been.
The most important thing for us with deciding whether to go with certain technologies or not is whether it'll pay for itself and return money in our pocket. At the end of the day, if many technologies are nice and make the day shorter, and that there is a value to be put on that, but if it's not putting money back in our pocket, the technology does not belong here. And that's the biggest criteria we have when deciding whether we are going to pursue a certain technology or not.
Always looking at new opportunities and new things to try, simply from the aspect that it may or may not work. But I usually try to evaluate on, number one, what the supplier or whoever the manufacturer is, their data, and look at, listen to the sales pitch per se, and then usually ask one or two of the first early adopters and see what their take is on how, the return on investment for the product.
It's really kind of a group effort. It's watching what's coming, seeing what you're already doing, figuring out what you want to implement, what your labor is capable of doing. So it's not an easy choice. It's stuff that you've got to do over and over again. And it kind of goes back to finding a technology that you like, that you understand, and move forward with it, whether it's drone technology for scouting your fields versus satellite technology. They've all got little fits, and it just depends on what you want to do.
Well, our family farm, we have a family farming operation, and it's a big family. So generally we sit down and start reviewing different things that are out there and try to come to an agreement on a product or a variety or something that we want to use on the farm, and then we go from there. When we've come to that decision, then we reach out to a seed dealer or equipment company to figure out what product is exactly best for our system.
New technology it's like technology's been since the wheel was invented. You've got to adopt it and move forward with it. I mean, it makes life easier. It makes it more efficient. It makes it more profitable. So, new technology is always going to be evolving, and you want to stay current to stay in business.
It comes back to that mindset. Decide that you want to make it work. Find something that you understand or that you can see a long-term return on. Find what you want to do and just find a way to make it work.
The best advice I could give to some of the younger farmers out there is to be open to it. I know for me, I work with my dad and uncles, and it's a older versus younger generation there. So it definitely takes time to adopt some of those newer technologies, but be open to change and be willing to try new things.
After hearing from these growers as well as our presenters over the last 2 weeks, it's easy to picture a world where agriculture is on the cusp of some major changes. While the technology on your farms may look very different in the next 20 years, I have no doubt that the drive and the passion will remain. Growers are known for being resilient, and I'm confident that you will turn these challenges into opportunities to grow your businesses and legacies. We at the North Carolina Soybean Producers Association are excited to be on this journey with you and are committed to bringing you the resources you need to grow your operations. We're lucky to have partners such as NC State, Extension, and a number of ag tech companies right in our backyard to partner with to bring you the answers to your questions as well as the data you need to make decisions on your farms. Our virtual Ag Tech Talks will conclude with a live panel discussion on August 18th at 8 a.m. The panel will include a number of the presenters from the presentations that you've watched over the last 2 weeks. We are excited for a lively and interesting discussion with growers, so if you have any questions, I'd encourage you to submit them at the forms at the end of each video. As we wrap up these Ag Tech Talks, I'd like to once again thank our sponsors, John Deere and the United Soybean Board, for helping make this event possible. Also, a special shout out to our intern, Mary Kate Morgan, who has spent a number of hours behind the camera collecting footage to make this event possible. Thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you on August 18th.